If you're thinking about moving to Atlanta, Georgia this year, you might want to reconsider your decision until after you watch this entire video, because I'm going to be telling you what it's really like living here, what to expect, what has changed, and most importantly, if Atlanta is the place for you. The last video we made has got over 120,000 views, and so many of you guys reached out to me wanting help buying and selling a home in Atlanta, Georgia. Regardless of where you're at in your home journey, you can reach out to me at any time. I would love to help you. My name is Zavon Ace. I'm an Atlanta real estate agent. You can contact me through email, text, you can call me. You can even set up a no obligation free Zoom call consultation with me where I can lay out your plan and help you choose the best place for you and your family. Now, enough talking. Let's get into the reality of living in Atlanta. First and foremost, I want to get everybody on the same page, which is Atlanta is not for everybody. And when I say this, don't get offended, but if you're looking for a city that's gonna welcome you with open arms and make money fall from the sky, it's not gonna happen unless you have a plan on why you're moving here, what you're looking to gain from moving here, and a reason on why you're moving here. For some of you, it may be you want to get closer to your family. Maybe you have a new job relocation opportunity. Maybe you just want to come and start a fresh new life. Maybe you want to open up your business in Atlanta. Or maybe you're still in the research stage. You're not even sure if Atlanta, Georgia is a place for you yet. So for us to ultimately determine if this is a fit, let's first talk about the culture that Atlanta, Georgia has to bring, and then you tell me if you like it. As you know, this is the home of the South. With me being originally from Arizona, I'm telling you, as soon as I moved to Georgia, I could immediately feel the famous Southern hospitality. Don't get me wrong, I was used to people saying please, saying thank you, opening the door for you, but in Georgia, it's like people go out of their way to help you and to be generous. And honestly, it felt very weird at first because I thought people were just trying to be funny, but then I had to just slow down and realize I'm in the South now. This is how life is out here. People are just nicer and less cold-shouldered to strangers. For some of you, this could be a pro, it could be a con. For me personally, it feels good walking down the street and seeing a random stranger smile at you, wave at you. Now, don't get me wrong again. People are nice down here, but by all means, they are not pushover. Certain jokes or things that I thought I could say because of my original West Coast lingo did not fly when I got to the South. People in the South are huge on respect, integrity, family, God. Most people here have morals. So just don't do or say anything out of pocket to disrespect somebody, because down here in the South, it's called fighting words. Okay, so if you can learn to adapt to Southern hospitality, Georgia is an official place that you can start considering to move to. Another part of culture that I want to throw in is the food scene. A lot of people who have lived here and been here say the food scene is mid, but I honestly believe it just goes off of your preference and your location. Prime example, if you live to Atlanta, if you're gonna be driving through Atlanta, there's gonna be a Waffle House, a wing place, and a Chinese restaurant every single corner. But there are also a lot of upcoming and trendy restaurants like Hungry AF. They got hibachi, wings, burgers, Alfredo, Philly steaks, and more. At the time of me making this video, there is currently only one Hungry AF, and it is located in Atlanta, Georgia. So when you do move down here, you do think about visiting down here, definitely try them out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Also, there are a lot of Southern style restaurants that will give you a great taste of what true old-fashioned Southern food is really like. The one that I recommend you guys to try is the Mary Mac Tea Room. All right, now that we covered culture and the food, one more thing you need to keep in mind about Atlanta, Georgia is the weather. Georgia gets to experience all 4 seasons, so for those of you who are used to warmer environments or colder environments in Georgia, you get a good mix of everything. For me personally, it was definitely a pro because in Arizona, it was just hot no matter what time of year it was. Because in Arizona, it was dry heat, but in Georgia, it's this humid heat. It's that really, really wet, sticky heat. That's worse than Arizona dry heat in my opinion, but it only lasts for 3 months, so you really got nothing to worry about. Another thing I want to add about the weather is that it is extremely bipolar. It can be bright and sunny one moment and then pouring down rain the next moment. Look at my background. As you guys are watching this video, I know you're noticing that it's going from bright to dark to back bright. The weather has no idea what it wants to do. Also, keep this in mind, when summer does roll around, the pollen is outrageous. It's on your car, it's on your house, it gets on your clothes, allergies start kicking in, I start sneezing and getting sick. It can be a lot to get used to, but once you live here for a couple of seasons, you start to get used to it. And one more thing about the weather before we move on. For those of you who live in my warmer states such as Arizona and Florida, please do not make the mistake that I did. please make sure that you are buying or you are already packing fall and winter clothing, because when I first moved down here from Arizona, I wasn't used to fall or winter or none of that. I was just used to just being hot. So all I brought was shorts and tank tops and t-shirts. That did not fly down here. Please, I wish somebody would have told me this. Please pack your big coats, your long johns, your long pants, wool clothing, gloves, scarf, beanies, because it gets freezing cold in the wintertime. All right, if you can deal with the food, you can deal with the culture, you can deal with the weather, you better be able to deal with the traffic. Now, traffic in Atlanta isn't as bad as places like New York, but best believe you do not want to be sitting in Atlanta traffic any day of the week during rush hour. And traffic in Atlanta happens because of petty stuff like this. But no, seriously, you can be backed up on the highway for miles and miles, all because of a tiny, small fender bender accident that is not even on the highway, it's off the highway. But what happens is people are nosy out here and they slow down and they want to look at the traffic. Now, as these people are slowing down, the people behind them are slowing down, and as you keep going further back, it just keeps getting slower, slower until you guys are at a complete stop. Everybody's late for work, everybody's late for the parties, everybody's late to the get-togethers and the functions. You're just late everywhere thanks to a small fender bender accident, thanks to people wanting to be nosy, and thank you to this guy wanting to ride a bicycle in the middle of the highway. And please do not get me started on the roads. I can't even count on two hands how much debris I ran over, how many potholes I have ran over, how many times the road has just completely stopped. And what I mean by that is you could be driving a straight road, and then you make a turn, or maybe you're still driving in Atlanta, for example, right? And then the road just kind of disappears. You know how you got the white and the yellow lines? It just disappears. And just you're asking yourself, one time I asked myself, am I even on a road? That's how crazy the roads can get living in Atlanta, Georgia. And most of the time, this really starts to happen because you got these big trucks. Like I told you guys in the last video, Atlanta is a big industrial hub. So when you have all these big old work trucks driving through and all this weight on the roads, it's starting to break in the roads. So now the roads are starting to get potholes, and then these trucks, they're carrying items in the trucks. Now debris falling off the trucks. And now the road done got so bad to the point where they don't even want to consider it a road anymore, but it's been there for all this time. So now they just remove the white and the yellow lines, or it just fades off every time. They don't ever want to come back out there to repair it. And now all of a sudden, you're left with this black strip of concrete for a road. Now, I'm not going to sit here and just talk trash all about Atlanta roads. Don't get me wrong, they do have projects and days of the month when they do come out there and start repairing the roads, but it just doesn't be the best timing. Like, why are you repairing your roads in the middle of Atlanta rush hour traffic? When I was in Arizona, the way the construction workers did the roads was late at night going into like early morning. I'm talking about 3-4 a.m. in the morning. The reason why I did this is because around those time periods, most people are at work and most people are off of school, most people are at home in bed. So you got less people on the roads, so it's not going to be a big old traffic pile up. And then at the same time, with less people on the roads, you don't have to worry about having to keep stopping, having to worry about somebody hitting one of the work construction cars while you're doing all the construction in the middle of the highway. Coming to Georgia just made me realize how blessed I was to live in Arizona. Don't get me wrong, Georgia, I love it. It's a great place. I call it my second home, but it's just the small things that people do out here. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, this is going to be a subtopic of traffic. Please be careful when you're driving out here. I quickly had to learn how to become a defensive driver in Georgia because people just do not care for the human life out here. I've seen too many road rage incidents, too many people getting cut off, too many unnecessary car accidents, all because people just want to drive so aggressively. When I was on the highway the other day, it was a big old truck following right behind me. If I would have hit my brakes ever so slightly, he was gonna ram into the back of my car. Also, he could intimidate me to go faster when I'm going the speed limit. Small word of advice, learn to adapt to the driving here and become a defensive driver. It's gonna save you a lot of money. It's gonna save you a lot of car accidents, a lot of road rage incidents. It's gonna save you a lot of stress and turmoil. Now, while we're on the topic of driving and transportation in general, some of you may need to use public transportation. Well, Atlanta has that too. It's called the MARTA system. MARTA has a train and a bus. The train goes as far north as Dunwoody and as far south as College Park. MARTA does have an entire system online that's gonna have a detailed explanation of the routes, what time it's gonna be coming there, just a whole map and a whole schedule so you can make sure you plan accordingly when it's time for you to take the bus or the train. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that link in the description box below. And if you're gonna be living here, traveling, or working in Atlanta, and you don't really wanna use Uber and taxis, go ahead and get yourself a Breeze card. Pretty much a Breeze card is what MARTA uses. It's a prepaid little debit card. You load your funds on there, and the funds will be taken off of that card and used to pay for your bus and your train transportation. I'll also put the link for that in the description box below so you guys can check it out, see how much it is, and see if it's even something that you might be needing when you move down here. All right, now I know I just threw a whole bunch of information at you guys, but please hang on with me because now we're going to talk about the exciting career opportunities in Atlanta, Georgia in 2024. Atlanta's job market is ranked top 25 in the entire nation. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put a graph on the screen that's gonna be showcasing the growth of different industries across the state. The numbers are only mere predictions put out by the Georgia Department of Labor, and these are said to go throughout the year 2028. You might want to pause the video so you can look at all the information for yourself. So as you can see, there are plenty of career opportunities and job growth all across the state. So even if Atlanta doesn't have exactly what you're looking for, you could venture out to the outskirts and find what you want there. But with healthcare and education in the lead, Georgia would be an amazing place for those of you who are interested to pursue a career in those fields. Now, one of the job statistics that I want to actually talk about in detail is the goods producing versus the service producing industry. Georgia as a whole is about 85% service producing and 15% goods producing, which is expected to stay the same going through the year 2028. So for those of you whose jobs is mainly about servicing consumers, you will have a huge share in the Georgia job market. Not to say for those of you who are in the goods industry not to move to Georgia, but think about it as a window of opportunity. There won't be as many good producing jobs available because that's just not where Georgia's job market is at the moment. So if you do see the opportunity to get a job in that career field or whatever career field that you are seeking, you need to act fast because Georgia's job market is extremely competitive and somebody will take your job extremely quick. Go ahead and save my contact information. Get ready to reach out to me so I can help you make your smooth move to Atlanta, Georgia. Now, if you've made it this far, you're probably wondering how much does it even take to live in Atlanta, Georgia? Now, the cost of living has gone up a little bit from last year, but not that much. You live in places like New York, Florida, California, Washington, D.C., or any other expensive metropolitan area in the United States, then Georgia is definitely still a budget-friendly option for you to consider. The annual income needed for a single person to live here before taxes is about $54,000. For a family of 5, you need about $132,000. Now, I know those were very generic and general numbers, but everything is going to ultimately depend on your lifestyle and where you live at. So to accommodate for everybody watching, I'm going to go ahead and put a cost of living estimator so you can really know how much it takes to live in Atlanta. Now, those numbers are mainly geared towards those of you who are living inside the perimeter of Atlanta, but let's say you want to live outside, maybe 1 hour from downtown. The further you get out, the lower your cost of living starts to be. So places like Douglasville, Fayetteville, McDonough, any of those outskirt places are great options for you to still be relatively close to the city and keep way more money in your pocket. All right, so now I want to get even more detail with you about the cost of living here. So on screen now, I'm going to go ahead and put the food and grocery prices, healthcare, gas, all the small miscellaneous expenses are going to be on the screen. Okay, now that you have all those numbers, and by the way, those were only estimates and should not be taken as actual dollar figure amounts, you should be able to calculate your current expenses, compare it to Atlanta, and let me know in the comment section below if Atlanta is more affordable than where you currently live at. And one little side note I want to throw in is Atlanta's economy. Atlanta ranks as the 22nd city in the entire world with the largest economy. To put that in perspective, there are over 10,000 cities in the world and Atlanta is in the top 1% of them. Atlanta's economy is booming and is only gonna get bigger as time goes on. So if you're looking for somewhere to live with a promising return on your investment, then Georgia is definitely a state you need to start considering for your buying and selling real estate needs. Now, while we're on the topic of real estate, if you are indeed interested in buying or selling a home in Atlanta, Georgia, you can reach out to me through my phone number. You can call that, text that, or you can shoot me an email. I'm an Atlanta real estate agent. I would love to help you and your family, you by yourself, you and your wife, you and your brother, you and your sister, you, your dog, you and your goldfish, make a nice, smooth move to Atlanta. I don't care if you're moving in the next 6 days or 6 months. Reach out to me, get locked in so we can get you on a plan and get you where you want to be at. All right, guys, now let's go over the property taxes. So across the entire state, the average property tax is 0.81%, and the median is $2,027. And of course, depending on where you decide to live it in Georgia, that number is subject to change. Now, in Georgia, the way they will evaluate your property for tax purposes is going to be about 40% of what your home is actually worth. So if your home is worth $100,000, $40,000 of that will be used for tax purposes, and you will be paying your property taxes based off of that number. As we near the end of this video, sadly, I love telling you guys about Atlanta. Let's go ahead and go over the crime rate. Carjacking is huge in Atlanta. So please, if you have a nice car, just pray that when you come back to it from being at the store or at the gym, wherever you're at, just hope that your windows aren't shattered and hope that your car is still there. Of course, you still got your common burglaries, theft, kidnapping, shootings, etc. With all that being said, you need to make sure you choose where you're gonna be living at wisely. Because in Atlanta, and honestly Georgia as a whole, you could be living on a nice, peaceful street. On the next street over, you're in the ghetto. Plus, there are certain areas in the state that may not be welcoming to certain demographics of people, certain groups, if you know what I mean. So that's why it is so important and crucial for you to get in contact with me, someone who has lived in this state for years. I can help you choose the best place for you and your family. But I'm gonna go ahead and put a link in the description box below to a crime grade website. All you have to do is type in whatever city that you're thinking about moving to in Georgia, and it will give you the entire crime stats for that city. Okay guys, that is the end of the video. I really hope that you enjoyed. Maybe you learned something new and you were able to get some value from this video. And like I keep saying in this video, if you are planning on moving, buying or selling a home in Atlanta, Georgia, I don't care if you're gonna do it in 6 days or even 6 months. You need to reach out to me ASAP. I get reached out to from people all the time, just like all of you. Reach out to me wanting help buying, selling, or investing in real estate in Atlanta, Georgia. So if that sounds like you, my phone number, my email, all that information will be in the description box below. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you do not forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on that post notification bell, and like this video to learn more about living in Atlanta.